You think you know Chinatown? Think again. Behind the moody visuals and unforgettable one-liners, this 1974 masterpiece was soaked in real-life danger, paranoia, and chaos. What if I told you this film didn't just rattle Hollywood's foundations? It got people threatened, blacklisted, and possibly followed? From slashed noses to banned footage, real scandals, and government cover-ups, this is the untold story of the movie that went too far. Chinatown. Let's dive into 20 real shocking facts about Chinatown, including the one that made cast and crew fear for their lives. Fact 1. Roman Polanski really slashed Jack Nicholson's nose. The iconic scene where Nicholson's character gets his nose cut? That wasn't a stunt. Director Roman Polanski himself wielded the knife and actually nicked Nicholson for real. Jack took it like a pro, barely flinched, and the show went on. But the scar stayed, on both film and flesh. The injury added raw authenticity to Jake Gittes's character and deepened the story's brutal realism. Fact 2. Faye Dunaway's breakdown. Dunaway went full method. She stayed in character on and off set, breaking into tears randomly and refusing to respond unless spoken to as Evelyn. Cast and crew described her as haunted during filming. Her emotional turmoil was so intense, the makeup team often had to redo her face multiple times per day due to uncontrolled crying. Fact 3. The water conspiracy was real. The film's central plot, a rigged water supply system involving wealthy landowners, was based on the real Owens Valley water scandal in Los Angeles. It was so accurate that powerful California families reportedly tried to stop the film. The script's accuracy frightened those still benefiting from real-life land grabs, making the movie feel less like fiction and more like a direct accusation. Fact 4. Paramount wanted to kill the incest plot. The studio demanded a rewrite to remove the shocking reveal that Noah Cross fathered his granddaughter. Roman Polanski refused. Jack Nicholson backed him. The story stayed, but studio execs were furious. They feared backlash, lawsuits, and censorship. But Polanski insisted, "Evil doesn't care about your comfort." Fact 5. Real threats were sent to cast and crew. As the film neared release, Faye Dunaway, Roman Polanski, and even crew members received anonymous letters and packages. Threats included photos of homes, apartments, and even children. It got serious enough that the FBI opened a quiet investigation. Some threats mentioned digging too deep into LA's past. Others warned, some things are meant to stay buried. Fact 6. FBI files are still classified. The Bureau's investigation into the threats ended without charges, but files from the case remain partially classified to this day. Who made the threats? No one knows for sure. The redacted documents only confirm one thing: someone powerful was watching. Fact 7. The real Noah Cross was still alive. The villainous Noah Cross was inspired by an actual L.A. water baron who lived just miles from the studio. He allegedly sent investigators to the set and threatened legal action. His identity was never officially confirmed, but insiders said his influence still reached deep into City Hall. Fact 8. Nicholson became obsessed with water politics. After filming, Jack Nicholson started attending real LA water board meetings. He hired private investigators and once said, "The truth behind Chinatown isn't fiction. It's just wrapped in screenwriting." His obsession grew so intense, friends feared he'd burn bridges in the industry. Fact 9. Actors needed real security. Following the threats, the studio hired armed guards for major cast members. Dunaway reportedly refused to travel alone. Nicholson began carrying a revolver on set. The mood was tense, not just because of the story, but because danger felt real. Fact 10. Polanski's trauma fueled his direction. Polanski's wife, Sharon Tate, had been murdered by the Manson family just 5 years earlier. Many believe this trauma shaped the film's themes of powerlessness and evil. He was directing from real pain. Scenes where innocence is corrupted, where evil wins. These weren't theoretical for Polanski. They were personal. Loving these Hollywood secrets? Smash that like button and subscribe. Fact 11 is where it gets dangerous. Fact 11, the Chinatown set was reportedly haunted. The production crew built the set on a location tied to 1930s unsolved murders. Cast reported strange sounds, cold spots, and figures walking the set late at night. One grip refused to work overnight shifts, claiming he saw a woman in a 1930s dress whispering behind him. Paranormal experts were quietly consulted, but no explanation was ever confirmed. Fact 12, banned in several countries. Due to its dark themes and incest subplot, Chinatown faced bans and heavy censorship in countries like Australia, Germany, and the UK. In some countries, it was only shown in late-night art house cinemas with age restrictions and multiple cuts. Fact 13. Studio execs feared reprisal. Paramount executives were reportedly terrified during post-production. Some even pushed to shelve the film altogether. Several received anonymous calls urging them to drop the project. One top-level executive reportedly moved his family out of Los Angeles until the film premiered. Fact 14. Jack Nicholson wore real PI glasses. Nicholson wore a pair of vintage 1940s private investigator glasses he found in a Hollywood thrift store. They belonged to a real PI who had been murdered. Jack insisted on keeping them despite superstition. He claimed the glasses helped him see the world like Jake would. Fact 15. Faye Dunaway had a secret affair with Polanski. The director and star reportedly had a brief, intense affair during filming. It added tension to their working relationship and may have influenced how he directed her. On set, they often argued, only to disappear for hours. Dunaway later described the experience as both liberating and destructive. Fact 16. Polanski refused to cut the ending. The devastating final line, "Forget it, Jake. It's Chinatown," was almost removed for being too bleak. Polanski fought to keep it, and it became cinema history. That single sentence summed up the hopelessness of institutional power, and audiences felt it in their bones. Fact 17. Private detectives watched the set. According to crew, strange men were seen watching filming from cars. Some believe they were hired by people who didn't want the story told. A few were caught taking photos. When confronted, they claimed to be freelancers doing location research, yet none were ever identified. Fact 18. Nicholson considered running for office. Post-film, Jack was so disturbed by real-life LA corruption that he reportedly explored a political run to clean it up. Though it never happened, he used his influence to support water reform candidates and even invested in environmental documentaries. Fact 19. Cast had to sign non-disclosure contracts. After threats escalated, new NDAs were issued to cast and crew, banning them from discussing on-set events or inspirations for the film's characters. These gag orders remain legally binding. To this day, many involved refused to discuss the film publicly. Fact 20. The true story was worse than the film. Writers later revealed that the real-life inspiration behind Chinatown had even darker elements they weren't allowed to include. The film was already pushing the edge. Real life went over it. Legal threats and studio fear forced them to tone down several scenes, and yet what remained still haunts cinema. 21. Chinatown almost had a sequel, with a murder. A proposed sequel in the early 80s aimed to reunite Nicholson and Dunaway for a new case. But the pitch included a real unsolved murder from the LA Water District files, one that possibly involved a current city official. The sequel was killed quietly. Rumor has it the screenplay draft disappeared. Fact 22. The film inspired real investigations. Following the movie's success, several journalists and local politicians reopened cold cases around water rights and land deals in California. Chinatown didn't just entertain. It ignited public inquiry into real systemic abuse. Some say the movie did what lawsuits couldn't. It exposed the rot. So now you know. Chinatown wasn't just a movie. It was a message, a threat, and for some, a warning. Which of these facts shocked you the most? Drop the number in the comments and make sure you subscribe, because our next expose might just ruin your favorite classic forever.